Hello, everybody. This is Anita, your financial behaviors, and it is time for Finding Your Financial Voice podcast. And I am your host, of course, Anita R Johnson. And the mission of this podcast is to always give you sound financial tips that you can implement immediately, allowing you to leave a legacy for your family. Oh, today is a special day, and we're going to be talking about mental health, money, and the Black community. Oh my God, I can't wait to talk to our guest about this. I'm excited because this is part of some of my studies that I've been doing. Mostly I've been doing working with Black women, but I wanted to spread out a little bit and then talk about the Black community in itself. And a couple of years ago, I wrote a book with another lady calling Being Broke is Maddening, a guide to financial wellness. And we talked about the different kinds of what happens to our mindset, all kinds of different things when we are actually trying to work with our money and being in poverty, and how that works on our mindset and how it works on our mental health. And I'm going to have an exciting time, and I hope that you have an exciting time with this guest. And always make sure you email us at info at Money Wisdom for Women with any questions that you might have, any comments. You can always call the office, which is 916-253-6444. And of course, our guest is going to give you some information, and she's going to give you some information about herself and her company, as well as possibly, if I can bribe it out of her phone number and contact information where you can actually talk with her yourself and ask her a bunch of questions, because she has a great business. So I'm gonna go ahead and introduce our guest, which is Raynisha McDonald. And hopefully I said it right. It ain't Barbara or something like that, but hey, we're gonna work with what we got. So
Raynisha.
okay, great. So she's a native of California, and she's earned a bachelor's degree in elementary school teaching, which is great. Oh, she probably would have kicked me out of class if I'd have been in there. And she's also continuing her education at National University, where I got my first and second degree at National University. Thank you very much. School of Psychology. So, and she's an entrepreneur, author, mental health professional, of course, teacher, wife, and mother. And so, one of the reasons why when I looked at her Facebook page, she came across my Facebook page, and she is the co-owner of Release Room in Elk Grove, that specializes in individuals struggling with stress, anxiety, or depreciation. Oh Lord, know what I'm talking about. Depression. And she's going to talk about that a little bit. Raynisha, welcome.
So,
How are you today?
my dear, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm
I'm
good.
sorry.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. We got that's okay. We gonna keep it up because somebody needs to hear this information that we're talking about today. You know, um,
Absolutely.
Definitely. So tell us a little bit how you got into the business that you're in, and what drove you to saying, okay, I'm gonna go back to school and work on get into School of Psychology.
So, I'll work back and then work my way forward. What brought me to back to school was I working in the classroom. I absolutely love it, but I realized that I wanted to do more, especially when it came to reaching the people in our communities, the people that were closest to me. I could see my family, I could see friends, I could see we all had similar struggles, especially when it came to our families. And so I just wanted to know more. I wanted to know what I could do to be of assistance to my people. And the best thing for me at the time was for me to go back to school and get more education so that I would know how to heal and how to implement different things that needed to be changed within our families and our communities. What
Great.
brought me to work in our business, it was at a time last year where a lot of Black people were being gunned down and killed for different ridiculous reasons. And it was infuriating. And I feel like a lot of us felt hopeless, helpless. What are we supposed to do? What can we do other than marching? You know, marching really doesn't get a whole lot done. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And so with that frustration, I just thought, wouldn't it be great if we started with just at the basics, allowing people to have a safe place to go to get frustration, irritation, stress, depression out, because we have been noticing that suicide is on a rise within our communities, and it is probably directly tied to a lack of outlet for most people.
Great, great. Today we're going to be talking about mental health and finances and in the Black community. And so, I picked up an article that I thought was really interesting when I was doing my research on it. And it comes from the American Psychology Association. And this is a paper on willpower, finances, and spending, sheds some light describing what could be the willpower factor about us, Black folks and money. And it talks about, and I know you probably see a little bit of this. You see every aspect of a little mental health, but I'm pretty sure that you probably see some things that come down the tube about money as well. And so tell me, I'm gonna read a little bit of the article, but I want you to tell me, what do you see as you are counseling or hanging out or whatever it is that you do with our community, our folks in our community, and how does poverty or lack of money or lack of vision about money affects their mental health?
I think first, a lot of times we have to consider that for a very long time, we didn't have enough as a people. And we either had to share and borrow within our communities to just have enough to eat or enough to clothe or house our families. And so now we've come into a new era where we have enough, and some of us have more than enough. And so what do? After you meet all the needs that you have in your household, then you want to feel good. And a lot of people, in order to feel good, they want to look good. They've always had this list of things that they weren't able to buy, or my mama couldn't buy a car, so I bought a car, or my grandma couldn't buy a house, so I bought, we have this list of things that we've always wanted to fulfill. And so now that we have the means to do so, we're doing so. And it's just gotten a little carried away. And so now that can't be the only pursuit. It has to be, okay, we have enough, we have what we need. So now we need to learn to invest our dollars differently. And so when it comes to mental health, also, if you're feeling a little sad and depressed, you want to go to the mall, you want to buy something to make you look good, it'll help you feel good, but it'll only be temporary. So it's a couple different things for different people. And it just has to be like small changes.
Small, yeah, I like that. I'm gonna read a little bit of what this article said. And this article is I'm gonna give the reference to this article. It's oursellesblack.com /money and mental health. And so you can, and it's by the American Psychology Association. So for anybody that is out there listening and you want to follow along with this one, then this is a great article. I thought was a great article, has many studies, and basically it's a study of how mental health, how money or poverty or money in itself affects our mental health. And I've always thought that it did, especially when it comes to the Black community that is quote unquote poor. and not able to, get up like some of us are and go and buy stuff, right? Buy healthy food, right? Or there's no healthy
Right.
grocery store in our community and things like that, right? They don't have a car to basically
Right.
go to the grocery store, and how that affects them. And it says, and I think I wrote a
Right.
little bit of this in the introduction when I was posting some things on Facebook about it says it seems intuitive that people who are depressed, anxious, chronically stressed, and have mental health challenges already might have a problem managing money. Okay. And it talks about 2 surveys and a study shed light on why this is so. And the results implicate that is important changes that can be made in type of treatment used on mental health and how those such issues understand and deal with money. And so as you uh, well, let me read a little. This is so interesting. This suggests that money problems have a greater effect on mental health than mental health has on financial difficulties. So if you basically, this article is talking about, everybody, people come across my desk of all types, and a lot of people do have stress about money, and I usually try to talk to them about the emotional effects like anxiety, shamefulness, low self-esteem, anger, frustration when it comes to money and their relationship to money, and why people don't want to even be bothered sometimes with their own money, and sometimes they sabotage themselves, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so, but this one, it says this report describes several effects of money problems on mental health: guilt, shame, low self-esteem, self-harm, anger and frustration, anxiety. And the list goes on and on and on. Panic attacks, low mood, all of those kinds of things. Do you see, and I know you work overall, so I don't, if I don't want to pin you down to just money, okay? Right. I don't want to pin you down to do that. Do you see that kind of in any of this? I know you talked about shame and blah, 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 and so forth. Do you see that in when you are dealing with young, old, in between folks that are in the community?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that another big factor in the mental health where it has to deal with money is a lot of us don't even learn how to use money until we're in our 20s, especially if we come from a low socioeconomic neighborhood. I didn't really start spending money until I started making money, and I didn't start making money until I was in my 20s. I'm out of the house, I'm in college, and now I'm getting money, and I'm having to try to figure out like how to budget, what is important, what is not important. And that's a lot of pressure because if you know you have $1,000 coming in for the month, but you've never been taught how to spend money, how to budget, what things are important, then you make the decisions on yourself. And then, you have buyer's regret. I just bought all this stuff. I can't take it back. And what am I supposed to do now? Like, how do I get my needs met? Because I wasn't taught self-control. I wasn't taught how to budget or manage my money properly. And so now I'm trying to figure it out. And a lot of people have that. And so in that young, impressionable age, you're 20, you're 21, you're 22, you might even be 19, 18, and you don't have a safety net, and you have all this pressure to, and you know that if the needs are not met, you really don't have too many places where you can go to get help. And if you make a mistake, then people are going to come down on you. And why are you being stupid with your money? It's just, and it creates a lot of anxiety. And it's just like, oh my God, like this is a lot of pressure. And so spending money and not knowing could have a lot of damaging effects on people, especially as it comes to their self-worth and self-esteem. And then they get trapped in bad money habits. And it's like, well, I feel bad because I can't buy everything that I need. So let me just splurge on something that I want. It'll make me feel better. I don't have enough to get what I need anyway, so I might as well get something that I want, and then you feel bad, and then you do it again, and it's just a constant circle. And so it could be hard to get out, but the first thing is like you have to get educated.
Boy, you giving us some education right now. Thank you so much for for talking, for giving us some education. And you're right. Most people, especially in our community, don't really have the wherewithal when it comes to money until we start making money. So we start earning money and out there with a job. And most of us don't, some of us don't get jobs until you're in your 20s, just depends on what, what your upbringing is, whether it's bad or good or whatever, or indifferent. We just don't know. The first time we have an experience with money is when we have a job. And so that is, we're not talking about paper route or anything like that, right? We're talking about when we're on our own, and we have to pay our own light, gas, and things like that, and then we sometimes and then some of us who are self-employed, that discipline really comes in kind of quickly. If you ain't been disciplined before, if you become self-employed, then that's a whole different scenario right there. That's great. So how
absolutely,
yeah, definitely. What are some of the solutions you think that should happen? What is it that we need to teach the community, and where do we need to teach it? Do we need to teach it at when they get to be 5, 6, 7, 10, 13, and how? What can we teach them?
So I can speak for my own personal family. We have 3 children. Our 5-year-old, we really don't let her have money because she still stares at us. She thinks it's paper. So we don't give her money that often. But our 10 and our 14-year-old, has a little debit card. We ordered it. I believe it's like Green Light or something. They have a lot of different programs where you can give a child a debit card and then you load money onto it. So we are at the stage where we're allowing them to make mistakes with their money. We don't give them a whole lot of money. We probably give them, the 10-year-old, he probably gets about $10 to $20 at a time. And of course, he wants to go to the store and buy all the candy. But then 2 days later, he's like, well, can you buy me a game? Or can you buy me a something? And I'm like, well, what happened to the money that you had? Oh, well, I spent it on candy. Oh, so you spent the money that you had on what you wanted. Now you want me to buy something. I'm not going to do that. And so just teaching him to deny himself of that instant gratification. That's the first thing. Like when you're learning discipline, instant gratification is your worst friend, because you see that, you want it, and then 10, 15, 20 days later, it's like, oh crap, I need something. And it's like, well, you don't have anything saved, so you're butt out. Teaching your kids and allowing your kids to make money mistakes, because it's a part of life. Everybody makes money mistakes. And if you allow them to get it out the way early, then when they're in their upper teens and their 20s, then they are in the phase of they can deny the instant gratification and they have the ability to save, because it's like a muscle that you have to build up. It's not something that, like, a lot of people don't just automatically have it. Some of us do. I wasn't. My husband is a great saver. I'm a spender. I love spending money. I love buying stuff. I need all the trinkets. I like to eat. I love the shoes and the purses and all that stuff. And it took me years to budget. And I mean, we had a lot of arguments early on in our relationship because he's like, stop buying stuff. And I'm like, but we have $100 in the account. He's like, well, you don't spend the last 100. I'm like, why not? We're getting paid again. And he's like, girl, stop.
I love it.
So just teaching my kids those principles, like, although you have $100 left, like, you don't spend your last your last. Come up with a number. Okay, I want to make sure I at least have $100 left over. And then you do whatever it is you need to do, and you be true to yourself. Don't go past that. Deny yourself that gratification because you're working to something that's bigger and that will have a bigger impact on your life. And it'll definitely make you feel good too. And you'll be proud of yourself, like I was able to obtain that goal. And so you're building your self-esteem while you're also building your savings or your portfolio, investments, whatever it is that your goal is. So it has a dual effect.
Right, exactly. I like that. I like that. So what is your advice you would give, not to someone, of course, like yourself, definitely teach, because what I do is I actually ask parents, if something were to happen to you, could your teenage child, 15, 16, 17, could run your household, knows where to find this, where to find the hidden jewels, those kinds of things, and be able to do that. And a lot of them say no. And the reason why is because they haven't really taught them that muscle that you're talking about. When we are messing around with that muscle, when we're messing around with that money muscle, that tends to really have a good effect on us because we're building that muscle, like you say. So what do we do with the community that does not have what you and your husband have, where you want to teach your children and you have them, you have some of the means to do that, to put some money on their debit card in this. What do you do with the ones that don't have that? How do we reach them and have them even with me, their mindset when it comes to money?
I think a conversation costs nothing.
Okay.
It costs nothing for you to lay your bills out every month and have your income and show your children, these are our bills, this is our income. That is very powerful, and it can be empowering to your children too, because we just tell kids, well, we don't have the money for that, or we can't afford that. And those words don't have meaning, nor do they have context. They're just words. And so if you actually pull out bills, like our kids always ask us questions. And so we are very open and honest with them about money, how much money we have, but also the money that we put out, because kids think $1,000 is like $1 million. And it's like, no. You can't do much with $1,000, especially if you have real bills. $1,000 doesn't go very far. For most people, it doesn't even pay their rent or their mortgage. It's like a portion of it, maybe a third, maybe half, maybe 3/4. So if you don't have a lot of money, and especially a lot of money to give to your children so that they can learn how to spend money, show them how money works. We have $2,000 coming in, but we have $1,700 worth of bills. Show them where the money is going. And that will also help them learn something valuable. Like, this is where money goes. This is how money comes in. This is the frequency. And it'll put it into proper perspective. Like, just because you have $1,000 doesn't mean it's a lot of money. And so teaching them that also teaches them budgeting. Teaching kids how to budget and how to pay bills, that's super important. I mean, high schools are just now thinking about adopting those things, and kids are like blown away. And these are high school kids, so these are upper teenagers. They're blown away at how expensive things really are. They have no idea because no one ever tells them. And I think that's something that really separates Black people from other ethnicities. I think that we're so private and secretive with money because we don't have it, that we stifle each other and our children because we don't want to talk about it, because maybe we're ashamed that we don't have enough. And it's like, there's so many other things coming into play with why we don't have enough, and it's not for us to be ashamed about, but we need to empower our children and the ones underneath us and behind us to show them, like, this is how you do it. And when you get it, this is what's going to help you and just giving them that knowledge, because knowledge really is power, and knowing is half the battle.
Correct. I like that. How can, and
So that
so
would be my
your suggestion. And so how do we tackle, so we're tackling the money issue. Are we tackling the mental health issue when it comes to poverty and money? Or how do we tackle both?
I wish I had the answer on that completely, but I don't. But I think the first step is just, really like being honest about where we are.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we see where we are, trying to have those conversations. We really have to get back to a communal way of living. That would help. Like, we don't really, I feel like culturally we're so concerned with proving something, proving that we have the newest and we have the best and that we're up to date with all the special this and special that. And we know everybody markets to us. Everybody markets to us because they know that Black people spend the most money, period. We spend the most money. That's why everybody markets to us. And so we have a lot of power, but we just don't use it the right way. We throw it towards the people who are oppressing us instead of throwing it to the people in our communities. And it's really up to the people who have a little bit extra to seek out how we keep the money in our Black communities to build our communities. I mean, we have cousins and other family members who are living, at the bottom of the bottom. And once you get out, you turn your back and you run away because you don't want to go back there because it's very traumatic. But what we have to start doing is we have to start pulling our money together as best we can to figure out, well, how do we buy up the buildings in the ghettos, in the hoods, in the poor socioeconomic neighborhoods? Because if we own those buildings, then the people who live there wouldn't be suffering as much because our interest isn't to squeeze every dime out of the hood. If we were able, as a group of people bought a grocery store in the hood, like that would help those people just as much as it would help us because they have to spend the money and the money is going back into the Black community. So they're giving us their money and then we're putting our dollars back into them because we own these buildings and we own these businesses and these stores.
Wow, what a
so
great,
that would help raise the community as a whole.
Wow. Yeah, that's a great way to impact the community. impact the community and talk and try to get the stress level down, because a lot of times, or even the heart diseases and things, because if you're not eating right, then if you don't have first of all, if you don't have a grocery store in your community and you see McDonald's, oh, did I say that out loud? You see the fast food chains, I should say, and then on top of that, you only have $2 or $3, and maybe you have two or three people, 3 kids in your household. Well, of course you're gonna go to the dollar menu, right? Whatever that looks like for you, and then and then now you're talking about okay. First of all, there's no decent food, all right, and then you are feeding yourself with those ingredients every day, right, every day, and then now you're talking about heart trouble, and you're bringing your children up that way too. So of course that causes high blood pressure, pressure on which can lead to strokes and low self-esteem, and all those kinds of things in the low economic communities and things as well. So yeah, I like this discussion. I really like this discussion, and we'll have to work on what we can do to bring about marrying those two.
And something that
yeah, go ahead.
something that they don't talk about or mention are the chemicals in all those processed foods.
Yeah.
Like when you eat healthier foods, it is proven that you feel better. Like you have all these chemicals swimming around in your body, and you become addicted to these foods. And so everybody knows with an addiction, when you come down off that high, you feel depressed, you feel anxious because your body's coming off those chemicals. So that plays a part in it too.
Wow, look at that. I ain't mad at you, girlfriend.
It's a lot of factors.
Yeah, that's true. I love it. I love it. Now, I want to slip over to you being, you and your husband being the co-owner of Release Room in Elk Grove. Tell me how that came about and what is that about?
So that came about a very interesting way. One of Ahmad, the jogger, had just been gunned down, and the video surveillance had just been released, and he's going for his jog, and he's shot and murdered by these 3 white guys. And I was on Facebook, and I was on a predominantly Black group, and a Black lady said that Black people must learn how to behave differently if they don't want to be victims of police brutality.
Oh my God.
And it really frustrated me to my soul, because a victim of oppression is a victim because there's an oppressor. Like, you're not raped because you wear something specific. You're raped because there's a rapist in the vicinity. People who are abused because there's an abuser. It's not our responsibility for white people and or police not to kill us. It's their responsibility. And so it just frustrated me so. And it was just a lot going on. Corona was really fresh, and all these Black people are being murdered. And so I told my husband, I said, well, how cool would it be if we had a safe place to be mad? Because and this is beyond Black people, every person of color knows that they have to be 2 people. That we have a stereotype about everybody, and the only person that's safe to show any emotion, no matter where they are white people. Black people, we're the angry Black man, the angry Black woman. We can't voice or stick up for ourselves. We have to be docile, we have to be quiet, and we have to be complacent. And if we are not those things, then we get stereotyped. We could lose our job. We might get shot and killed because we're hostile. And so we don't get to show anger, frustration, irritation, which can lead to suicide, depression, and anxiety. And so we just started researching and doing the work. Well, are there other SMASH places out? Could we offer any kind of counseling or something on the end part of it? And so we just really started doing a lot of footwork, doing a lot of research, and we didn't find anything like what we wanted to put together. So we just said, what the heck? Let's be the first. Let's be the first to put this together. And so it's really panned out well. People come to our facility and they get to smash glass and wood and a car and an appliance. And then after they're done smashing and getting all that frustration and rage out, they come in the office and we take them through a breathing technique, which basically teaches them how to calm your emotions down. And that's something that we need as a people, because we are very good at getting frustrated, irritated, and hurt. But we also need to know how to come down and how to put those emotions in their proper place so that we can make good, logical decisions that will help guide our life in the right place.
I love it. You can smash a car too? You got a car over there? Did I lose?
We keep a car.
Okay, all right. You keep a car, man.
So you could come in, you could smash a car. No, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, we try to keep a car.
Wow, I love it. I need to come over and do that. I need to come over and smash a car. I love it. Well, boy, this has been an interesting conversation. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we have people come in.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was agreeing with you coming on over, coming in and smashing a car.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we got a little bit of a delay, but we take care of that. Yeah, that actually brings out a lot of frustration in people when they can actually be
Okay.
able to if they're able to take out some of that frustration on something that is not going to basically get them jailed or killed in some form or fashion.
Right.
Yeah. Great. How many people do you normally have attend at one time?
We can accommodate up to 10 people at one time,
Hmm.
and we call that a release party.
Oh, wow. Party. Party. That's what we're going to be doing. Great. Well, tell us where tell us where we can contact you, where
Right.
people can contact you, and phone number, address, email, website, whatever it is that you have. Tell people where they can find you.
So the best way to contact me is through email, and that's my name. So McDonald Raynisha at AOL, McDonaldRaynisha at AOL.com. And our business is in Elk Grove. It's at 9864 Dino Drive, Elk Grove, California, 95624. In addition to smashing and whatnot, we also provide counseling services. At the end of every smash session, we offer the people an opportunity to talk if there's anything that they need to get off of their chest, anything that they feel, however they want to talk. And if you just need outright counseling services, we offer those as well.
Okay. Great. Are there office hours, or do they need to schedule an appointment to come in, or can they just show up?
Absolutely. Schedule an appointment. My apologies. Our website to book, we are on Square. So if you Google release room, it will take you to our website, and you can click book the appointment, and it'll take you directly to our Square site. We require an appointment before you come in. We like for people to have their individual time, so we don't want any walk-ins, because if you come in and you want a counseling session, then we don't want anybody to interrupt that time.
Mm, okay. Okay. Well, yeah, this has been an interesting conversation about mental health money, and in the Black community. We have to do more of these conversations because we didn't really scratch the surface on that and how to deal with the mental health issue. We didn't even deal with the systemic racism when it comes around money at all. We just dealt with just okay, I'm stressed and I need to go buy something. We didn't even go talk about the redlining that happened in the past, and then
Right.
how that processed honors, or the things that we see in the streets today. We didn't even talk about any of that. So this is a conversation that we'll probably continue to have on some point
Right.
or time. And so definitely I'm going to have you back, or either maybe write some article or something in the Affluence Financial Fitness magazine, and talk about that, how it affects women, and because that's what I'm about women and money. But and we can talk about that and have you write some things about that as well. So I want to thank you for coming on the show. I've had a wonderful time, and again, like I said, I'm going to keep in touch to make sure that we get you maybe to even write something in our in our magazine about it.
I would love to, and thank you so much for having me. And I would absolutely love to come back. So thank you so much. I appreciate the invitation.
No problem. So I want to thank everybody out there for listening to the Finding Your Financial Voice podcast with me, your host, Anita R Johnson, where our mission is always to give you sound financial tips that you can implement today, to when we get off this, before we get off this call, and leaving a legacy for your children. Make sure you take advantage of the special things that we have. Until next time, make sure you take care of yourself. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Uh-oh.